What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're updating something we haven't discussed in depth in quite a while. We're talking about some date night fragrances. Very specifically, this is 10 of my personal favorite and my wife's personal favorite designer fragrances for me to wear as of late, as of the last several months on us going to dinner. In fact, we're going to be heading out to dinner here in just a little while to go to Texas Roadhouse. She's in the mood for a good steak, speaking of. So one of these 10 is what I'm going to go with. So let's dive into these. Let's discuss a little bit further. Just know that they're all alluring, smell great, and have kind of that evening vibe to them. Stay tuned. Incense, amber, vanilla, and a little bit of woods. It definitely has a very warm vanillic tone. It's the newest release from PRADA. It is Luna Rocha Ocean Eau de Parfum. So you do get the sweetness from the original, but not quite near as fresh. Like I said, much more of a warm, ambery, vanillic fragrance. Like it's kind of a smoky, warm vanilla, because I believe there's some frankincense. It's lovely. If you like vanilla fragrances, this is for you. Now, the name, the theme of the bottle, everything may lead you to believe something else. So definitely don't blind buy this one unless you know what the notes are and you're going into it accordingly. I would still encourage you getting out and sampling it, but it's basically a vanilla bomb with a little bit of warmth, incense, and wood. Like I said, every time I've said that, it is that simplistic, though it does smell of decent quality. It doesn't smell cheap and synthetic. Performance is great on this one. You don't need a lot of sprays. You will get a pretty thick sillage. It's a kind of a heavier vanilla amber combo. While not on the level of something like a Grand Soir or a Nichane Ani, one of those upper echelon amber vanilla combos in the niche world, as far as a designer, it's going to be pretty hard to beat this one. I would strongly encourage you checking out. Wife's a big fan of this one. This is a strong contender for dinner tonight. And that's PRADA Luna Rocha Ocean Eau de Parfum. Next is a personal favorite of mine. Lavender and iris combo with a bunch of warm spice. This is gorgeous. This is a lot of people's favorite from Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male line. It's up there for me too. We're talking about Le Male Le Parfum. Beautiful, waxy, powdery type of iris. This is good stuff. You don't get that minty green feel from the original, but you get the lavender, you get the vanilla. So the majority of the Le Male DNA is present in here. Great performer, not overwhelming if you're moderate to modest with the sprays. You don't need a lot with this one. Less is more when it comes to going on a date with your significant other. Now, if you're out hitting the bars and you're looking for extra attention, I understand wanting to spray more, wanting even stronger fragrances. I totally get that. But as far as being with your lady, in a committed relationship, which is my situation, less is more. I don't want to overwhelm her. This is a fragrance that I go 3 to 4 sprays typically when we go out to dinner. That's kind of the main times that I wear this one. It's one of my favorite iris fragrances, especially as far as designers, that real powdery, waxy lipstick type of smell. This really pulls that off very well. And I think it's because of all that added warm spice. There's cardamom and oriental notes in here that provide a nice, rich, spicy tone. It's just a beautiful fragrance that obviously is not going to be for everyone because it's so powdery, but boy, if you're into iris and powdery fragrances in general, it's one of the best on the market for sure. Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Le Parfum. Now, I have to say with this next one, I've been very impressed, so much so that I think it's my favorite version of SPICEBOMB now. It's their newest release. It's SPICEBOMB Infrared Eau de Parfum. It's rich, resinous, a little bit of leather. It's even smoky. I don't know if it's due to the leather accord, the resins used, or what, but fiery hot, cozy spice, cinnamon, red pepper. A little bit of that aromatic, slightly sweet feel from some pink pepper. This is good stuff. I do think it's superior to the Eau de Toilette. I love the Eau de Toilette. I was very back and forth on Infrared Eau de Toilette versus Night Vision EDP, on which was my favorite, because I really loved the last 2 releases, but I think this has trumped both of them. It's long-lasting. It's got a great sillage that really begs the come hither type of thing to pull her in close because it's so alluring. Younger gentlemen, I don't know how that's going to work for you, but us middle-aged folk, My wife's a big fan of this one. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not saying it smells matured and old, but when you compare it to the bright, sweet playfulness of the eau de toilette, yeah, this is a little bit more grown up, grown man, and matured. But as far as versus the eau de toilette, I think it's beautifully composed, and this is one that I strongly encourage you. Get out, get it on your skin, and try it for yourself, because I don't know, I think they've topped themselves this time with SPICEBOMB Infrared Eau de Parfum. While the newest Amber Flanker is definitely a favorite of mine, we recently went to the movies and I wore that. It's beautiful, but I still think the King of the Mountain and the Stronger With You line is Stronger With You, absolutely. Because it really ties in a little bit of everything else that's come before it, plus some rum. And it doesn't have too much of a booziness. It's not too sweet. It's not too spicy. You still get that roasted chestnut that's in the original. You still get the toffee sweetness from Intensely. You still get that fiery hot cinnamon spicy smell. It's amazing. I know it doesn't stay in stock easy from discounters. It's not the easiest fragrance to find out there. The nice woody tone with the roasted chestnut as it dries down while still having a little bit of that spice is magnificent. I gotta say, I don't know if they'll be able to top this. I know a lot of people, Intensely is their favorite. If you like this, if you want the sweetest, the best sweet version of it, definitely Intensely. That's a close second for me, that and Amber. The whole line's good. I'm just a fan. You can't go wrong with any Stronger With You men's fragrance for evenings out. Even the fresher ones like Freeze and Only. They just work because they still center around the DNA. They flanker properly. They always tie back into the original's DNA. But I think this is the most well-rounded, smoothest, richest, and just, I guess, in some ways, serious out the line because of the booziness. But I don't mean serious as in formal. I mean serious as in not just playfully sweet, because there's so many playfully sweet ones out there that I think that's what makes this one so refreshing. Get out and try this one if you haven't yet. It's the top of the line for Stronger With You, in my opinion. It's absolutely. Now, typically the Le Parfum flanker would be right here. All time, it's number one in this line. But as of late, in the last few months, I've been gravitating towards this one a little bit. My wife actually, when I was pulling these to the side, she smelled it. She said, ooh, you should wear that one. So I might end up wearing this one. It's kind of between this and Prada Ocean tonight. But we're talking about La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Parfum from YSL. So what's special about this one? You get a little bit of a leathery accord while still having that spicy cardamom tone. It's not near as powdery. It's much, much more warm and ambery. And like I said, it's got a little bit of an animalistic tone with this leather accord that they put in here. It's just beautiful. It does smell like a richer version of La Nuit de l'Homme, while not a direct descendant to where it's like, oh, this is just a higher oil concentration. They made some tweaks and adjustments. Like I said, most notably this leather accord that they put in there, and it's much more warm and ambery. It's not as powdery. It's not quite as sweet. It's more spiced and animalistic overall than it is sweet. It's beautiful. Underappreciated fragrance in the La Nuit de l'Homme line that deserves more love. Now, if you have Dolce & Gabbana, the one Eau de Parfum Intense, the black bottle, completely redundant. They are pretty much the exact same fragrance. I have both. If you have one, you don't want the other, let alone need the other, because they're pretty much the same fragrance. It's hard to tell them apart side by side. I've tried. But I do prefer this one. Maybe it's the preference to YSL over Dolce & Gabbana. I don't know, because this household's big on YSL, especially my wife. She loves YSL, men's and women's fragrances. If you haven't tried this one, you're missing out, because I don't even know if it's still in the market. You never know with them. The flankers come and go so often that I never know what's currently in rotation on the market. But I'll tell you what is in rotation on my date night rotation, and that is La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Parfum, which I strongly encourage you to get your nose on. Sweet, rosy, woodsy, a little spiced. It's 1 million elixir. Now, don't get me wrong. Me and my wife seem to be on a 1 million parfum kick as of late, but to go out to dinner, I want the more serious side of it, which, again, not the most serious fragrance. It's a 1 million flanker. There's nothing serious about any of these fragrances, but this is also the most mature because it's based around some earthy florals like osmanthus and a deep, rich rose. I do get that beautiful Davana note here, just apple. It's sweet, but not super playful. Not like the Eau de Toilette, like Lucky, like the Parfum. Those are bubblegum sweet. This is a different type of sweetness. Like I said, that's why it's a little bit more on the serious side of things. Royal kind of ties closer to this one, which I don't have a bottle of yet, but I have smelled. But I would encourage you to try the line, but most notably, if you're looking for kind of the I guess, the more grown-up version of 1 million these days, you should check out Royal or 1 million Elixir. This is most people's favorite, and I totally understand why. Because before I got the Parfum, this was my favorite, and I didn't think it would take a backseat to any of the flankers, because after I smelled Royal, I was like, nope, I still think I prefer this one. For evenings out, yes, this one. Daytime, slightly cooler, even to warmer weather, that's where I lean to the Parfum. But for dinner dates, nights out, if you like sweet fragrances, this isn't playfully youthful sweet while still having some somewhat unique sweetness. Like I said, Davana and apple with earthy florals and a little bit of woods. Beautiful fragrance, I'm telling you. Get your nose on this. It's Paco Rabanne's 1 million Elixir. This one may surprise some that it's on the list, but me and my wife are huge fans. And I do have the Elixir on the way. It's delayed right now. That shipment's taking forever. Shout outs to UPS. And this is the one to beat. This is the measuring stick. I love the mass appeal still being there with the aromatics in the woods, but it has that little something extra. It's smooth, it's rich, it's warm, it's even a little smoky on my skin. It's Ralph's Club Parfum. This is beautiful, guys. This is going to be hard to top. This is going to be very hard to top for the Elixir flanker. Don't get me wrong, Ralph's Club, the original Eau de Parfum, it's a great everyday fragrance. This, though, does work fine during the day. Evenings out, it's the one I would prefer to reach for. It has a little bit more warmth to it. Warmth plays a big factor into things that I'm going to wear in the evening, because when I think warmer aromas, I think cozy. Bring her in close. Intimate scenarios, intimate situations. Night out, just enjoying one another's company. This is not overwhelmingly loud either. Yeah, in the first hour, it's bright. Every fragrance is pretty bright in the first 30 minutes to an hour, but it does last a long time on skin because it's a little bit higher oil concentration. It wears heavier versus the original. And like I said, warm and even a little smoky, incensey type of feel on my skin. Maybe it's darker woods. I don't even remember the note breakdown completely, but it has a little bit of a warm, smoky nuance. And myself and my wife really, really dig that about this fragrance. Like I said, this might be kind of a surprise pick for a lot of you that are familiar with the fragrance, but I'm a big fan. Ralph's Club Parfum. Sweet, ambery with a rich tobacco note. Timeless. Never a bad scenario to wear it. I like the Eau de Toilette so much. I've smelled the Eau de Parfum and just, I don't deem it necessary, because Dolce & Gabbana the One Eau de Toilette is still my preferred Dolce & Gabbana the One if I'm going to wear it to dinner. And I have 2 of the 3 exclusives. I have Mysterious Night and Luminous Night. I don't have Royal Night. I have the one Eau de Parfum Intense, like I mentioned previously in this video. I have the one gray and so on. I got a bunch of them, don't get me wrong, but this I still think is the best smelling version of the one. The original. I'll be damned. The original DNA has some merit still, at least in my opinion. This is a classic in this household. My wife loves when I wear this one. I admittedly don't wear it all that much anymore, but once in a while, a few times periodically throughout the year, I will reach for it. That's why it's not a massive dent, but I do give it a few sprays. 3 or 4 sprays is plenty. I get a few hours out of it. It smells lovely. It's fresher than the Eau de Parfum. Obviously, being a brighter, lighter oil concentration, you get a brighter, lighter scent profile most of the time. And that's the case with the Eau de Toilette, the original, the actually first version of Dolce & Gabbana. The one, it gets overshadowed by the Eau de Parfum. That has gotten all the rave over the years, but I'm telling you, if you put them side by side, you'd be hard-pressed to tell me that this isn't at minimum just as good, if not better. In my opinion, better. Dolce & Gabbana the One, Eau de Toilette. Now we go from a more subdued, intimate fragrance to one that, if you're going to wear this on a date, 1 spray is plenty. 2 sprays, yeah, it's a lot. But it's gorgeous. If you like warm and spicy and woody, oh man, there's not too many better in the designer market than Sauvage Elixir. I had to put it in here. We are both huge fans of it, but even at 3 sprays, it fills this entire apartment. My wife has asked me to not wear 3 sprays moving forward. So now I do 2, and it's still immensely powerful. But I did wear it to dinner with 2 sprays 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, I think. And she loved it. 2 sprays was perfect. Was just right, because this is nuclear. This is absurdly powerful, guys. But It's full of sandalwood, bright lavender, and a lot of rich spice. The nutmeg here gives this dry, woody, spicy tone. It's not full of citruses and things like that. It's warm, rich, woody, spicy, dense. For as strong as it is, it's still pretty cozy as long as you're mindful of how it's going to perform and you spray accordingly to who you're going to be with and where you're going to be. And that's kind of the case of what I have to do. It's a 2-spray max fragrance for me now moving forward with my wife. But guys, it's incredible. It has all the praise it's ever gotten across social media, I think, is warranted, is justified, and is deserved. This stuff is amazing. Get out and try it. Obviously, not every fragrance in this video is going to be for every single guy. I get it. It's subjective. You got to try it and see how you're going to feel about it. Definitely bring your lady with you if you're trying out some date night fragrances, which is what this video is all about. But this stuff right here, whew, I'll tell you what a great release from DIOR. SAUVAGE ELIXIR. Last but most certainly not least, my favorite version of this fragrance, my wife's favorite version of this fragrance, it's Armani Code Eau de Parfum. A little bit of citrus at the top. There's a little bit of citric freshness, a lot of lavender, vanilla tonka bean, and suede. Rich, fuzzy suede that adds a little bit of a warm feel to this powdered tonka bean, and it's not cloyingly sweet vanilla tonka bean like Armani Code Absolute. I find that one to be too much. It's cloying for me. Whereas here, I don't know, they just balanced it just right to where it's so good. It's so good. And it's powdery throughout, it's sweet throughout, but it manages to have a little bit of a creamy, lightly soaped lavender aromatic feel, a touch of citrus. It all works. I think this is the best version of Code that I've smelled. My favorite version used to be Profumo. We're big fans of the Profumo flanker in this household, but this was easily my wife's favorite, and it grew on me a little bit. I really liked it a lot the first time I smelled it, but as I started to wear it, I fell in love with it, and it became my favorite version, but she's loved it from the first spray. This is a hit, another one that's a hit in the household, and I would strongly encourage you trying it. Yes, the parfum's incredible. It's basically this plus some iris, very powdery. It's a beautiful fragrance. It really is. It's beautiful. And Profumo, I don't know if it's still readily available on the market, but do yourself a favor and try that one. Basically add some more leather to this, less powdery, still powdery, but this is so good. It smells very much like the original. It doesn't have quite that star anise, warm, spicy, slightly licorice feel, but I would say it's about 80%, 75-80% tie into the original Armani Code DNA, so it is ever so present, so it has that strong level of seduction that's always worked, is timeless at this point, just a little refined, a little twist, a little tweak, but still true to that tonka bean DNA. Just beautiful stuff. This is a sexy fragrance, guys. Powerful too. It's Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Well, that's the 10 that I have for you today, and until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. Obviously, this was curated with the wife's opinion being factored in, because there's a few of these that maybe not my absolute favorite in the line. Some of them are, where I have to factor in, because we're talking date night, and that's who I go on dates with. How is she enjoying them? So this is the 10, guys. There's more than 10, obviously, but over the last few months, this has been the main 10. And until next time, I will say if you get your hands on any of these 10 and give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.